Today we're going to talk about the Hermetic principle of correspondence. Now, this is one of my favorite Hermetic principles simply because we're talking about the correspondence between yourself and the universe and everything in between. We're talking about everything from the subatomic to the macro. This is a very large scale where it shows that fractals are actually real, and it shows that the ancients knew about fractals. We're talking about as above, so below, so within, so without. And when you understand that ancient phrase, you begin to realize that the true journey is the journey to inner space. Outer space is here, and outer space does exist, but the inner space is what manifests on the outer space. And they understood also the interconnectedness or the correspondence between what's going on inside of you and what's going on in the outside of you, if you want to look at it from that perspective. It also really spells out the world of fractals and that everything throughout the entire known universe is a fractal of something else. And what is a fractal? A fractal is a particular shape or a particular design that repeats itself on smaller and smaller scales. It's based on the Mandelbrot set equation discovered by Benoit Mandelbrot. And what it says is that nature is governed by or created by this specific, very tiny formula that allows reality to unfold as we need it. So with the principle of correspondence, we can see that the actual as above, so below, or so within, so without, it connects to or interacts with this Mandelbrot set equation and allows reality to unfold, but always being a fractal of something much larger or much smaller. When you understand how powerful this is, it can really affect and change your life in a very positive way. For example, if you look at the interconnectedness between the universe and the human body, you begin to realize that the human body itself is nothing more than a fractal of the universe as a whole. If you understand that not even the universe, let's even expand further. Let's expand to the multiverse. In the multiverse, imagine a sea of universes, spheres bumping against each other, right, throughout an infinite multiverse. And each one of those collisions actually potentially creates a white hole, which then creates a black hole and vice versa. But if you can envision the universe as a cosmic body, a multiversal body, and those individual universes that are all spheres bumping into each other and flowing throughout the multiverse as cells in the human body, all of a sudden it all becomes very clear that the cells in your human body are fractals of the multiverse. So we are literally a walking multiverse from that perspective. If you can realize that the cells in your body all are miniature universes by themselves. That's how incredible life actually is. We are a reflection of everything that actually exists. And if you can see it inside of yourself, then it definitely exists on the outside. So this is a very powerful lesson that we can learn because it allows us to understand that the power is truly within us. If we lock in and look within ourselves, if we begin to study ourselves, if we study our biology, if we study our psychology, if we study our mentalism and our abilities for cognitive function, we could then begin to understand and reflect on what will manifest on the outside of us. Because what happens is collectively, we are creating reality, but individually, we are creating our own reality tunnel. And in that situation, we need to have as much of control as we possibly can on what's going on within us and around us on the outside. Now, when you're not aware of this, you allow all kinds of anomalies to happen to you on the outside, and you question, why is this happening to me? How come I can't stop this? What's going on? When in true reality, it's happening on the inside and the reflection is on the outside. So with this knowledge, we need to understand first that if you're looking to manifest and create a better life, a better reality, to manifest your dreams, your purpose in life, then take a journey to inner space first. And in there, and what that means is in there, you begin to work on yourself. You begin to think about the things that are going on inside you, like trauma from the past that you haven't dealt with, trauma from the past that you've hidden and locked away deep within your subconscious. right? The programming code that you've been given since you were born. Even since before you were born, the programming code you were given just by simple vibrations and frequency passed through the mother's womb, through into the placenta, and then absorbed by you, the cells in your body. All these things become programming code that make up your subconscious mind. And of course, the news, the media, schooling, and everything else going on around you, which is also helping to program your subconscious. And then we need to analyze how we respond to situations. So what is our response mechanism? Are we always in fight or flight, or are we in problem-solving mode? If you're not in problem-solving mode, then you're in fight or flight, and what that does is creates more negativity, more low vibrations, which attracts more negativity into your life. Understanding this correspondence and how things happen on the inside and reflect on the outside is a huge process in manifesting your reality. Because if you can't understand or work on the things within you, then it will reflect on the outside. Trauma is a very, very, very big problem for a lot of people. When we're talking about trauma, we're talking about things that have affected us in a negative way, that create a lasting memory that sometimes we even try to block or hide because it's too painful to even relive or imagine. Those things create trigger links, and those links are triggered to or linked to things that happen to you in the current moment. So you could be talking to someone and they might say something that in some way takes you all the way back in time to a trauma that could have happened as much as 10, 15, 20, even 30 years ago. And it could ignite a firestorm inside of your subconscious and put you in fight or flight and put you in defensive mode. And there you then lash out and you can create a situation that you didn't mean to create. Unwittingly, not even knowing that it was a trigger, a keyword or a key phrase or a key action or emotion by someone else outside of you, and you then allow yourself on the inside to be tortured. It's a punishment that you give yourself. This is why it's so important to understand and work on these traumas. It's to know that you've been programmed since birth with these negative low frequency concepts and thoughts. Your imagination has been stolen and robbed away in school. You know, shut up, sit down, stand in line, speak when spoken to, raise your hand, and I just might think about letting you ask your question. If you need to go to the bathroom, don't just get up and go. You need permission for that too. And I might let you go or I might not. You know? And so these are the things that happen just in school that create this negative programming code within our subconscious. And again, those programs are lifelong lasting programs that affect us on a day-by-day basis. So you'll need to go back and reprogram that subconscious and realize that the things that you were taught and the imagination that was stolen from you and the forced, almost like prison mentality that was given to you are not your true reality anymore. That happened in the past. It's time to rewrite that programming code and step into your true power. Regain your imagination. Regain your vision, regain your dreams, access them and follow them, regain and find your passion. All that has to be done because the way that it's been set up for you, it was stolen from you. It's time to reclaim what is rightfully yours, what your birthright is. And then, of course, working your negative self-talk. They're called ANTs, automatic negative thoughts. A lot of people are literally living in a scarcity mindset, a lack of abundance mindset, believing that they are unworthy of great things. They're unworthy of abundance. They're unworthy of living a great life. They're unworthy of living in their passion. They're not even worthy of, living in a safe place. That all comes from programming code. So going back and recognizing your negative self-talk, recognizing the ability for the human mind based on conditions growing up to simply acquiesce to a condition and believe and take it on wholeheartedly as if it's your current condition for the rest of your life. That is where a lot of people get stuck. You have to break out of those lack of abundance mindset, those scarcity mindsets, those negative mindsets of talking about yourself. I'm poor. I can never do this, or I can never do that. I will never be able to, or I'll never be able to go. And, if I could, and one day I might, and all those kind of crazy statements that we'll make which gives us this mindset and frequency of a lack of abundance. It tells the universe that you don't believe there's abundance that exists when the universe itself is infinitely abundant. So what the universe does, it holds up a mirror and sends back at you the same frequency that you're putting out. So the more that you talk in negative self-talk about yourself, the more negativity flows into your life on a consistent basis. And you'll find that you end up in this cycle where you're kind of on a hamster wheel, running but not going anywhere. And so working on the trauma, working on the negative self-talk, and then also another big problem, this is all locked in to not understanding the principle of correspondence, is the self-sabotage and the procrastination. Those two things are some of the largest killers of dreams, because I don't care if you were born with a situation where you were never programmed negatively. You never had severe traumas that hold you back. You never had to worry about abject poverty. You pretty much had a decent life growing up, and now you just can't seem to do anything. You can't go anywhere. You can't make anything happen. You can't get out of your rut. You just can't figure out what's going on. Most likely you need to analyze and check and see if you are a procrastinator. Are you a self-sabotager? Do you keep putting things off over and over and over again and then try to crunch them in at the last moment and then do a half-baked job on it, right? Or do you even begin to get great opportunities, accept them, start the process, and then let it fall to the wayside simply because you believe it's too good to be true or you don't deserve the abundance that it's going to manifest into your life? I've seen people do this over and over and over again. I was talking to a gentleman years ago, and I was talking to him literally about these Hermetic principles. And one of them we stopped on was the principle of correspondence and the principle of cause and effect. And the reason why I had to go into these teachings, I was trying to show him that he didn't understand these fundamental universal principles, these ancient wisdom teachings, because of how he reacted to a potential opportunity. I had presented him with an opportunity that would allow his existing company to prosper and earn about 2/3 more revenue, which would have taken him into millionaire status. And when I presented this opportunity to him and showed him all I needed him to do to provide support to what I was doing and how much revenue it would generate him, his first response was, "Oh man, if this works like this, then I'm going to have to pay a lot of more money in taxes." Right away, you see the lack of abundance mindset. His mind is so pre-programmed, his subconscious was so pre-programmed, he defaulted into scarcity mindset right away. He defaulted into fight or flight. He got afraid. He was horrified that if he makes more money, he's got to pay more taxes, not realizing that if he's paying more taxes, he's making more money. You see? His mind tricked him into believing he was making less money, and fear took over his body. I tried to explain it to him several times, but he just couldn't see it. That lack of abundance mindset took a grip on him, a tight hold on him since he was born. And because of that, he didn't take the opportunity. So I passed that opportunity on to someone else. That company that person didn't even have a company. They literally created the company because of the opportunity. Now, I knew that they had the skill set to follow through on it. They actually became very successful, and the company became, or that person became, a multimillionaire within that company. Why? Because they listened to me, and they happily paid those taxes because they made more money than they ever made in their life. The other gentleman, unfortunately, he's not in business anymore. So you see, these decisions that we make can have reverberations down timelines. You fracture timelines when you understand the law of correspondence, when you operate within it and you begin to realize that what you're working on the inside is going to show up on the outside. And when it shows up, can you recognize it as an opportunity that's going to put you on a totally different timeline? Because every time we create this corresponding law and we enact on it, we fracture time and move and shift into a totally different timeline. For example, the first gentleman that I offered the opportunity to, if he had been talking to me about, I want to break through. I want to keep growing this thing. I'm really excited about what I'm doing. So he's putting that out to the universe. He's happy. He's passionate. He's loving what he's doing. He's helping people. His his company is doing what he wants it to be able to do, right? He's loving his position. He's loving his job. He's loving what he's given to the world. So he's got that back now. Here I show up with the opportunity for him to expand it even larger. And then what happened? The opportunity arose, and he rejected the opportunity, even though it was abundance being manifested on his own conscious thought, but he couldn't recognize it for what it actually was. A lot of the times when we're operating within the law of correspondence, we're working on things on the inside, and then we have to realize that the corresponding is going to show up on the outside. But when it arrives, we have to see it for what it actually is. A lot of people get scared and they don't see it for what it is. And when they don't see it for what it is, they get horrified. They go into fight or flight. They deny it. They reject it. And they end up staying right where they are, stuck in a scarcity mindset. Like I said, I've seen this many, many times. And this can be applied to many other areas of life, not just finance. I used to coach basketball. I coached women's basketball for many years. Very successful teams that I coached. They've won many gold medals, many tournaments, made it to high school finals and everything else. And through this process, I've gone to dozens and dozens of tournaments, college tournaments, where these high schoolers will play in front of college coaches in hopes of getting picked for a scholarship to go play in college. And I've seen some of the most incredible players on other teams that had significantly more talent than some of the players that I was coaching. And I'm talking about significantly more. And then when the big moment comes to like the championship round, sometimes those players, they just don't show up. They're there, they're on the court, but they didn't arrive in their moment. They went into fight or flight mode. They didn't understand that due to the principle of correspondence, all of the preparation, all the mentalism, all the focus, all the energy they put into honing their skills and their talents, learning the plays, persevering over injuries and everything else to get to this elite moment, an elite moment in their life where they've been waiting for this their whole life. And then the self-doubt crept in. And even though the universe provided them with the corresponding opportunity to their hard work and their frequency, it's right at the front door now. They slammed the door on it because they let fear creep in. They let doubt creep in. They let the ants creep in, the automatic negative thoughts. And then the whistle blows, they get on the court, and they don't know who they are anymore. And then they blew great opportunities to go play in college. Great opportunities. And I've seen this happen over and over again every summer in these travel sports and Junior Olympics and AAU. And I just recognize it, and I'm like, man, I wish I could just reach out to this kid. And obviously, that'd be impossible to talk to all these kids, especially since they're not on my team. But they just didn't realize how to step into their moment. And a big part of manifesting your reality, whatever it is stepping into your moment, realizing it for what it is, recognizing it when it arrives, and stepping into it wholeheartedly, confidently, assuredly, with nothing but the most highest frequency, accepting it, taking on the challenge, and putting in the action to manifest it fully. This is why it's one of the most powerful, incredible principles, because you can expect it, just like you can expect the sun to rise every morning. You can literally expect it based on the work that you do on the inside. So if you're working on yourself, if you're meditating, you're eating healthy, you're working out, right? You're focusing, you're having meditation, manifestation meditations. You are setting your goals and your daily dreams. You have a dream board. You know, you're doing your daily affirmations. You're working diligently on yourself, working on your past traumas and your self-talk and everything you're supposed to be doing. You must expect the corresponding energy to come at you from the outside. When you work on the inside, the corresponding frequency will come from the outside, and you must recognize it for what it is when it shows up. If you do that, then you're going to be extremely happy because you will realize the moment you've been waiting for has arrived in your life, and you step into that power. You step into your true power, your birthright of whatever that thing is. So These are the things that we're going to be teaching and so much more at Manifest Destiny 2025. That's going to be in an incredible place. It will be in Carson, California, on Carson Street. And it will be hosted by Billy Carson inside the Carson Center. That's a 4. So that's 4 Carsons. And that's going to be November the 8th, 2025. It's only about 15 minutes away from LAX, the Los Angeles airport. And I want to see you there in person. It'll be myself, Billy Carson, Mike Rashid, and of course, Robert Edward Grant. It's going to be an amazing day. 8 amazing hours you'll spend with us. Book signing, meet and greet, photos, and of course, an interactive manifestation teaching session for the whole day. We're going to interact directly with you in the audience. It won't be a sit-down, boring lecture. You're going to stand up. You're going to do some things. You're going to learn how to take your manifestation to the next level. So I want to see you there. Make sure you click the link and make sure you register ASAP because seats are limited for Manifest Destiny 2025. Again, at the Carson Center on Carson Street in Carson, California, hosted by Billy Carson.